Expression on Robin's face, those words in an instant. The marriage I had built with so much trust over the years was shaken to its very core. Everything we had created together melted away in the face of a stranger. As my heart shattered, a wave of insecurity and anger washed over me, threatening to drown me. At that moment, I couldn't comprehend how drastically everything had changed. I had trusted her completely. Loyalty was the foundation of our marriage. But now, amid these harsh realities, I realized I had become the victim of a cruel lie. What would come next? How could I continue to live, knowing that another had left their mark on her heart? Before I dive into my story, if you don't want your life to be turned upside down like mine, subscribe to my channel to learn real lessons from the real stories we share every day, just like mine. Also, share your thoughts about the shocking truths I've experienced in the comments. And please show your support by liking my video. Now that you've subscribed, let's dive into my story. When I walked through the door that evening, everything seemed normal, just as it had been for years. The house was quiet, serene even, the kind of calm that usually welcomed me after a long day. Calm that signified home. I should have noticed the absence of the usual smells. No dinner cooking, no sound of Robin bustling around the kitchen, but I was too caught up in the mundane thoughts of the day to realize that this quiet was different. A small, nagging discomfort settled in my chest as I headed towards the living room. Robin was sitting there, waiting, her posture stiff, her eyes dark with an emotion I couldn't quite place. "Tuck, we need to talk," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, yet it echoed in my mind like a thunderclap. Something inside me snapped at that moment. There was something in her tone, something final and cold that I had never heard before. My mind raced, trying to anticipate what was coming, but nothing could have prepared me for the words that followed. "I don't want to hurt you, but I've fallen in love with someone else." Her words hit me like a physical blow. The room seemed to tilt, and for a moment, I struggled to comprehend what she had just said. It was as though time had stopped, the air thickening around me, suffocating me. All the love, trust, and loyalty that had built the foundation of our marriage crumbled in an instant, replaced by an overwhelming sense of betrayal. 1,000 questions rushed through my mind, but all I could manage was a weak, "Who is he?" Robin's gaze faltered, and for a moment, I saw a flicker of guilt in her eyes. She swallowed hard before answering. "His name is Francois." The name meant nothing to me, yet it carried the weight of my world crashing down. Francois, a stranger, had wormed his way into my life, into my marriage, and stolen the woman I had vowed to love and protect. Anger surged within me, a volcanic eruption that threatened to consume everything in its path. "I need to meet him," I said, my voice steely and resolute, surprising even myself. Robin nodded, and there was something in her expression. Relief, perhaps, or resignation. She reached for a piece of paper on the coffee table and handed it to me. A legal separation agreement. "This document will turn into a divorce petition in 90 days, she explained, her voice void of any emotion. My hands trembled as I took the paper. The reality of the situation beginning to sink in. This was it, the end of everything we had built together. But I wasn't ready to give up without a fight. The thought of another man, a stranger, taking my place, living the life I had worked so hard to build, was unbearable. "When did this start?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, though the anger and hurt were threatening to choke me. Robin hesitated, and in that moment I knew the affair hadn't been a fleeting mistake. It had been going on for a while. "Few months." She finally admitted, her voice barely audible. "We met at a coffee shop. At first, it was just talking, but then it grew into something more." Something more. The words echoed in my mind, each repetition sharpening the knife that twisted in my gut. This wasn't just a physical betrayal, it was emotional too. She had shared parts of herself with him, parts that I thought were mine alone. The thought of her confiding in him, of them laughing together, of him touching her, was too much to bear. "When is he coming?" I asked, my voice cold now, detached. I needed to see this man to understand what had drawn Robin to him. What had made her willing to throw away our years together for him? Soon, Robin replied, her eyes downcast. I couldn't meet my gaze anymore. Perhaps she knew that there was nothing she could say to ease the pain she had caused, nothing that could undo the damage. I didn't have to wait long. Moments later, the door to the kitchen opened, and Francois stepped into the room. My breath caught in my throat. I recognized him instantly, though it took a few seconds for the realization to fully hit. Francois, Frankie, my old friend, the man I had once trusted, the man I had lost touch with years ago. And now, here he was, standing in my living room, the cause of my life's devastation. Our eyes locked, and for a moment, neither of us spoke. The shock of recognition was mutual. I could see it in his eyes too. The easy charm that had once made him my friend was still there, but now it was tainted with something darker. He had taken something that wasn't his, something that belonged to me. Frankie, you son of a... I began, but the words caught in my throat. I wanted to scream at him, to hit him, to make him feel even a fraction of the pain I was feeling. But all I could do was stare, my hands balled into fists at my side. Kirk, he said finally, his voice laced with regret. I didn't know, I swear. I didn't know it was Robin. His words did nothing to soothe my anger. You didn't know? And now that you do, what? You're just going to walk away like it never happened? Frankie shook his head. It's not that simple. I never meant for it to go this far, but... He looked at Robin, and I saw the same desire in his eyes that had once been reserved for me alone. I care about her, Kirk. I didn't plan this, but I can't just walk away now. His admission was like salt in a wound. My best friend and my wife, the two people I had trusted most in this world, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. And now they stood before me, united in their guilt, while I was left to pick up the pieces of my shattered life. I want you both out, I said, my voice trembling with the effort to keep my composure. This house was mine before we got married, and it'll be mine after you're gone. Robin, your bags are packed by the time I get back. I don't want to see either of you. Robin's face crumpled, tears spilling down her cheek. Kirk, please, I never wanted to hurt you. I still care about you, but... But what? Snapped. But you just couldn't resist him? Was it worth it, Robin? Was he worth everything we had? She didn't answer, just stood there, her tears falling silently as she realized the full extent of what she had lost. And in that moment, I felt nothing but emptiness. The love I had once felt for her, the future I had envisioned, it was all gone, replaced by a cold, hollow void. Frankie stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder as if to comfort her, but the sight of it made me sick. Leave, I ordered, my voice barely more than a whisper. Both of you. Now. Without another word, they turned and left, their footsteps echoing in the silence of the house that was no longer a home. As the door closed behind them, I sank onto the couch, the weight of everything finally crashing down on me. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at nothing, trying to process the whirlwind of emotions that raged within me. Anger, betrayal, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of loss. The life I had known was over, destroyed by the very people I had trusted most. Eventually, I rose to my feet, the ache in my chest dulling into a numbing emptiness. I knew that I had to move forward. I had to find a way to rebuild my life from the wreckage. But as I stood there in the silence, I couldn't help but wonder if I would ever truly heal from the wounds they had inflicted. The days ahead would be dark, filled with reminders of the love that had once been and the betrayal that had taken its place. And though time might dull the pain, I knew that the scars would remain, forever etched in my heart. Constant reminder of the night my life was irrevocably changed.